morning, everyone, and welcome to this Wednesday's edition of Market Fatafat. This is the show where we get you a lowdown of all the stocks that are buzzing in trade today, what's making the news, what's standing out on the charts, or what isn't. And we've got a total of 30 stocks which we will discuss. Well, for that, let's bring on board our team of research analysts. They're all standing by, and Ashish Kayal is with us on the technicals. A rough day for the equity markets. Let's find out which stocks to watch out for. Well, can't help but talk about crude oil prices, and of course the beneficiaries are the OMCs, Mubina.
Well, yes, once again, who would have thought that when, the government brought in that excise duty pass on to the OMCs, that ₹1 fall that they would have to take, we are going to see this massive rally from those levels of 199 and 200 to now almost 250 for an HPCL. But that's really what has happened. And this is on account of the way crude prices have supported HPCL by declining the way they have. It's almost a 30% decline from the October highs of $86 per barrel to just $62 and $63 per barrel is what we are witnessing, and that in turn would more than cushion that ₹1 cut that HPCL, BPCL, OMC, IOC would have to take of the excise duty bit. So this is something that certainly does bode well for the OMCs. Remember that even in 2016 we have seen OMCs post a stupendous rally on the back of Brent crude prices, and it looks like we're just witnessing that right now as well.
All right, watch out for HPCL, BPCL and IOC, all of the stocks that are rising on the back of the fall in crude prices. Moving right on, let's pull up one of the ADAG stocks. They've been on quite a journey of late, but Ashish, let's understand. Would you bet on Reliance Communications?
Yes, lately the stock has shown a good bounce back from the lower levels of 10 and the high of 50. We have some consolidation. Now there is a possibility the stock can again move higher towards 14.60 levels. Long position can be created here, keeping a surplus of 13.50 and the target of 14.6.
All right, create long stop loss at 13.1, but there is potential to bet on the stock. Move right on then to the biggest newsmaker of the day, and Karunya, without a doubt, it's Dr. Reddy's.
That it is, and it's on back of a double booster, in fact, that the company has got. Let me just talk you through both of them very quickly. DRL has essentially received temporarily, not temporarily actually, it has the court has allowed Dr. Reddy's to sell G Suboxone at risk. The court, in fact, had earlier temporarily restrained DRL to sell this particular drug, and now that they have received the court's approval, it is going to augur very well for the company. Several players are already in the regulatory queue. Now that DRL has already received it and the court's approval, it will have a first mover advantage going forward. It could in fact gross $50 to $120 million in sales at very high margins. The second update for DRL is the fact that they've received approval for G Propofol. It's currently a 4-player market, 3 generics and 1 innovator. It has a decent market cap as market opportunity size as well, $100 to $120 million. So a double boost in the short is something that's keeping DRL up in trade.
All right, that certainly is a stock to keep on your radar, 6% higher. Moving right on then, Interglobe Aviation as well is in focus today. The stock is holding out, but it's not been a very great view coming in from brokerage house Citi. In fact, they believe that it's a sell rating on the stock, though they have a target price of 720. They've seen a slight slowdown in the October air traffic, and that's largely on account of the shift to the festive season. In fact, they say that the domestic passenger market share was steady at around 43%. Nonetheless, they're not very optimistic on the stock, though with the crude oil prices, it sure is quite a mover in trade today at 1,054. Moving on then to mid-cap IT, and a whole host of these names are having a fairly rough session, understandably so with the currency. So Siddharth, let's talk about Tata Elxsi.
Well, depreciating currency didn't help their margins, Awan, and now currency is appreciating. So clearly, some of these names are correcting. Not necessarily it's just currency factors, but you're seeing IT space at large correcting. Tata Elxsi, why I've selected huge pile-up of short positions, and most of the stocks are away from their supports, barring few. And Tata Elxsi is reaching its support level, and the way data is panning out, it seems that this 945 support would also get breached, and hence the stock in the list.
That's Tata Elxsi for you, down about 2.5% in trade, and giving it company is Tech Mahindra as well, which is down at the lowest point of the trading day. Ashish, what does one do with Tech Mahindra at 691? More downside?
See, we are seeing a strong pressure on the overall IT space, and the IT sector has been negative. Tech Mahindra also showed a sharp correction on the downside, so there is a possibility one can create short positions at current levels. Keep a strict stop loss of 720 and then expect a target of 640 on the downside here.
All right, watch out for Tech Mahindra. That's the take coming in on the technical sell with a stop loss at 720. Meantime, look at Sun TV and Mubina. That sure is lighting up the screen. What does Citi have to say?
Well, they are saying that this Diwali season certainly has been a good one at the box office, and Sun TV would be a beneficiary of that. They have a buy stance on the stock price. They placed their target at 800 rupees, so we are talking of almost about a 200 rupee uptick from the current levels. They're also saying that they've raised their FY19 estimates by 2%, but for FY20 and 21, they've lowered it by 4%. The stock price reacting to that optimistic note.
It sure is, and that is Sun TV for you. We'll have to wait and see what comes out of their kitty. But Yes Bank continues to remain a newsmaker, Karunya.
Yes Bank search for MD and CEO who will be succeeding Rana Kapoor remains unaffected by the recent spat of resignations that has happened in the last 1 week. That's the word coming in from the board itself. They are saying that they're very much on track to look for a successor, and they will be able to appoint somebody before the all-important deadline of January end 2019. In fact, over and above this, the talks, the buzz that was going around about the fact that Rana Kapoor and Madhu Kapoor are in talks, are in negotiations for a truce, that is also something that has been confirmed by the management. So, on back of these few kind of positive triggers is why the stock is a buzzing trade, and of course the kind of consolidation that it has seen in the last couple of sessions, it has seen a good rebound.
All right, watch out for Yes Bank, but let's take a bit of a detour and hear out the management of Tata Steel speaking exclusively to ET now. Here's TV Narendran, Managing Director and CEO.
Thank you so much for taking time out and speaking with us. I want to start off by asking you about your outlook as far as global prices are concerned. I do understand that China is going through divergent trends on this regard. In fact, the cuts have not fully set in. So how do you view the global steel outlook prices going forward, and what impact does it have on India specifically?
Yeah. So I think there is obviously some concern about China, maybe a bit overstated at times, but there is a concern. If you look at it at a macroeconomic point of view, China is growing quite well at 6.5%. What has slowed down a bit is the auto growth in China has slowed down. The growth in appliances has slowed down. But the growth in the real estate market is still quite strong, right? So hence you're seeing the impact more on flat products, which is more dependent on auto and appliances, than in long products, which is more dependent on construction. So there's been a little bit of unwinding of positions in China, and there's also a lot of speculation going on the cuts in China, and there is a view that the cuts announced by the government is less than what people had anticipated. So we've seen the flat product prices soften by about $30–40 in the Southeast Asian markets. As far as its impact on India is concerned, I'm hearing of import parcels being booked into India. It's not that because the domestic prices always are a bit on the higher side compared to the import landed prices, because when you import you run the risk of having material come in 2-3 months after you book the order, unlike in domestic where you get it immediately. So that's playing out. So as of now, the imports, I'm told, in December is forecasted to be about 600,000 or 700,000 tons. So there will be some sort of impact of that in the domestic markets, but I'm positive given the fundamentals of the Indian economy, the fact that the economy is still quite strong, and I hope the prices stay up. It's our job to make sure we get the best prices we can.
Tell me a bit about pricing. Where is the power? Which sections of the product lineup do you see more premium when you're talking about flat products actually seeing some pressure at this point?
So the long product prices have been more stable than the flat products, and long products again depends a lot on the infrastructure activity, and a lot of spending continues in the infrastructure space, and we believe that a lot of it will also happen as a prelude to the elections when a lot of activity will happen there, right?
All right, there you have it. That's the management of Tata Steel speaking exclusively to the channel, talking about the slowdown in within the space as a whole, as well as the growth potential going forward. Tata Steel is currently at 550. Well, let's get right back then to the countdown and stocks to watch out for in trade. And some of the telecom companies that are in focus today, as the government is considering a relief package for the telecom industry. Remember, it's laden with debt, hit by earnings. There's been a 2-year price war. So we understand that Kumar Mangalam Birla has met the top finance ministry officials. They are seeking a deferral on the 900 crore rupee that it has to pay the government in March. In fact, the government feels like sentiment would be damaged on the whole if the largest telecom company wasn't able to make payments. So we understand that the finance and telecom ministry officials will be meeting to discuss the health of the industry and devise a rescue plan. Some of the telecom stocks in focus ahead of that, but tell you what, for now, we'll take a quick break, come right back as we get you more stocks to watch out. Welcome back. This is Market Fatafat and we're getting you all the stocks to watch out for. For now, the mid-caps have broken out into the green, ditto with the small-cap index. We've curbed some of those losses, 10,577. Well, let's move right on and Siddharth, get to Vedanta. Talk a little bit about what kind of moves we're seeing in the derivatives market today.
Well, just a comment on that mid-cap and other indices. It's only IT because of which Nifty is down. Otherwise, even Bank Nifty is doing pretty well for itself. Coming to the 10th stock, which is Vedanta. Now, metal stocks are correcting and they are forming short positions, and Vedanta is no different. In fact, Vedanta has been an underperformer before this metal correction started. It is about to breach its strong support of 200, and we are seeing fresh formation of short positions. So it's one of the weakest names, not just in today's trading session, but positionally in metal space.
Okay, keep an eye out. That's the take coming in, not just metals, but IT as well. Can't ignore Reliance Industries meantime, which is struggling. Ashish, do you wait for a bit of a further decline to enter into the stock, or now's a good time?
I think there is a possibility we can get a dip towards the level of 1100, which is acting as a very strong support. So use that dip as a buying opportunity. On the downside, one can use a stop loss of 1070, which is the low of the previous pivot level, and then expect a target of 1.5.
Alright, keep an eye out on Reliance Industries. Target at 1150. It's a buy candidate. Berger Paints, meantime, Mubina, let's talk a little bit about the beneficiaries of crude oil price crack.
Well, naturally, paints with a big chunk of their raw materials coming from crude and its derivatives, and I'm talking about monomer and all. We're talking almost 50% of the raw material cost being crude and its derivatives, is naturally going to see an uptick. If you talk about Brent falling to a more than 1 year low. Interestingly, the rise for crude prices has been gradual, but the fall has been very fast. Just in the last 1 month, we've seen a 30% crack come in crude prices. I'm talking about from the October highs of $86 per barrel. So naturally, you are seeing you are going to see the concomitant impact coming in on consumers, paint companies. So all the paint companies, Asian Paints, Berger Paints, are all rallying, very resilient to the market fall that we are witnessing in trade today.
All right, that's a stock to keep on your radar. Moving right on, then Jet Airways as well in focus, Karanya.
Well, it never went off focus. It's continuing to be in the news for one update or the other, and the latest one looks like is a positive one for the company, at least from a stock move point of view. Jet Airways on Tuesday said that they're in extremely active talks with a lot of people, with a lot of potential investors in order to secure sustainable funding and sustainable financing rather for the company. This is primarily to navigate through the current headwinds and create long-term growth for the company and eventually for the investors. They're also saying that they're seeing a very strong interest come by given the kind of strong brand and the confidence that a lot of these potential investors supposedly have in the business turnaround efforts. So this could be an indication of more deals or more fund infusion likely to happen in the company, and on back of this the stock is flying away.
All right, keep an eye out on Jet Airways. Meantime, NHPC is on the brokerage radar. Deutsche Bank has maintained a buy. They've got a target price of 30 rupees. They believe that the tariff cuts are needed for their future projects, and hydro could be the area that will be best favored when it comes to government policies. The stock, though, quiet at 25. Infy, meantime, and yes, Siddharth, this is a big pain point in the market.
Yeah, and as we were discussing about IT space, which is resulting into correction in Nifty and not in other indices, Infosys is the pain point. In fact, Infosys has been showing weakness, Awan. It is underperforming Nifty IT. Today it has gone substantially below its 200 DMA. It is adding short positions, and above all, you know, as I was mentioning for Tata Elxsi also, if depreciating rupee has not done any good to their margins, and if rupee starts appreciating, these companies would have some issues, and that's the reason IT, or that's one of the reasons why IT is correcting and Infosys is leading from the front.
Okay, that's the view coming in on Infy, an 18% correction from the peak. Meantime, let's move on to VRL Logistics. And Ashish, what a great mover in trade today. What's your analysis?
After a long time, we are seeing some retracement on VRL Logistics. My take is it can move towards the level of 61.8% retracement of the prior call, and that's why there is an expectation of it going towards 315 or probably higher levels. Create long positions in this stock with a stop loss of 288 and target of 315.
Those are the levels to watch out for on VRL above 300. Jindal Stainless, meantime, Mubina, this one is really having a tough session today.
Well, that it is. And you know, it's not just today, by the way. The last couple of sessions have seen tremendous pressure built on Jindal Stainless. You could attribute it to the worries with respect to the stainless steel prices showing a dip for the last couple of sessions, and that in turn has obviously hit the stainless steel maker. That pressure of the stainless steel prices falling has also built onto nickel prices, because nickel prices, do remember, in the last 3 months have seen a significant crack of 25%, and is one of the biggest underperformers among commodity markets. So that as well is something that you should consider when it comes to Jindal Stainless. 16% gone in the last 4 days.
Yes, indeed, this was stock that has seen relentless selling pressure. Concor, meantime, Karanya is on the brokerage radar.
Yes, it is. In fact, it's been upgraded by Nomura to a buy. Target has been given at 800 rupees. Nomura is essentially saying that the price hikes will stabilize the company's margins performance going forward, and pick up in industrial activity is also likely, which is going to augur well for them. In fact, Concor was incidentally on the channel as well right here on ET Now in the morning. They said that they will be maintaining margins in a decent, reasonable range. They are comfortable at this point of time in not taking a tariff hike immediately to counter rail haulage hike in order to get more volumes and more customers and order inflow. They had a strong volume growth show in H1 and are fairly confident of continuing that momentum in the second half as well.
All right, looking good for NBCC. Pardon me, for Concor. Meantime, it's NBCC that is under pressure. Remember, they've submitted their expression of interest. This is for JP Infra, which is penny stock but quite active in trade today. They have provisionally been shortlisted as well as an administrator for the company. You also have other big potential buyers that are in the fray. Kotak, L&T Infra are some of the other names. Moving on to stock number 20, and that's LIC Housing Finance, and it's holding out above the 465 mark quite comfortably, Siddharth.
Well, it's a rare sight in last 1 year that, you know, LIC Housing Finance within NBFC space is outperforming. Otherwise, it has been quite a dog of a stock. It has been underperforming. But last month, there was double bottom formation. Not rare, but in many stocks we did see. But LIC Housing Finance, today we got recommendation from a couple of our technical experts also. And the stock is doing pretty well for itself. Very decent volume in cash market segment. Long formation in futures. Suggesting that at last some buying interest is coming back in the stock, even though some of the NBFCs are correcting.
All right, keep an eye out. A rare sight indeed at 467. Moving on then to L&T Info. Let's understand how much further the stock can decline, Ashish.
Yes, we have seen a strong selling pressure in the mid-cap IT space, and L&T Infotech is no different. Over short term, there is a possibility the stock can continue to correct on the downside in the form of wave C. So we can short at the CMP, but keep a very strict stop loss of 1540 because that's an important resistance, and then expect a target of 1445 on the downside.
All right, important levels to watch out for. Meantime, Max India That stock is continuing to fall, and how, Mubina?
In fact, just as we speak, here's a sharp drop in the stock price that we've witnessed, a vertical decline just coming in right now on Max India. It's 8% lower at the day's low for Max India, and it's not just today. For the last 3 trading sessions, we have witnessed the stock come under immense selling pressure. Do remember, we had an ET Now exclusive that we broke for you yesterday during market hours, where sources have been suggesting that Max India and KKR Radiant are in talks for potential phased merger of the hospital business. In early stages, may or may not result in a deal, but the first phase will essentially involve KKR Radiant acquiring about a 49% stake in the subsidiary Max Health. So that deal may be in the works. The stock price, as I just said, has taken a sharp plunge as we speak.
All right, that's one to keep on your radar, relentless selling pressure. But on that note, we're completely out of time, so we'll wrap it up on this edition of Market Fatafat. Markets at noon coming right up.